All right, everyone. Welcome all to episode 15. 15, right, Case?
16.
16 of the 16. Casey and Tyler Show. Sorry, episode 16 of the Casey and Tyler Show.
One thing that I found out is it's really easy. It's gonna be easy during football season. Is every recap episode is even numbers. Every preview episode is odd numbers. That was how I figured it out.
Well, that definitely makes it easy.
Right.
You know what I might be hearing, Case? Actually, do you have your TV on?
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing that volume. We'll just restart. That's what I'm hearing.
There. Are you hearing it now?
No, I'm good now. I could just hear something in the background. I'm like, what is that?
Okay,
right,
yeah,
sorry.
That was my TV. I didn't know that was catching. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's good. Fuck it. We don't even need a restart. We'll just let it ride because that's organic, and Casey likes to watch TV. You know what I mean? So that's fine. What were you watching? Tell the listeners.
Monday Night Football. It's about to be on.
Yeah.
Patriots, Bears.
Yep. I actually have to put that on because I want to be able to peep the score while we're doing this. But welcome all. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I had one of my best weekends of the year, to be honest. I'm sure we'll get into that when we do our weekend recap. But fantastic weekend for myself. We had beautiful weather here in Michigan. Which is really rare this time of year. We've been blessed with weather in Michigan as of late, and that's not something you will typically hear a Michigander say. But so for this episode, we're going to get into the MLB playoffs. Obviously, we got some World Series talk. Then we'll do our college football Week 8 recap, NFL Week 7 recap. I'm going to bitch about the Lions. But other than that, just a recap show. We're going to do our best to keep it short and sweet. What do you got for the people, Case?
Let's do this.
Let's fucking do it. Guys, weekend recap. Casey, how was your weekend? What did you do?
What did I do? Friday night, I didn't do anything.
That's not true.
Wait, what did I do Friday night?
We hung out Friday night.
Did we? Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. We did. Yes. Me, you, the old lady, and our buddy Gabe all went out for a drink. Had a
couple beers, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot we did that.
It was chill.
Yeah, then I went home, relaxed, and then Saturday I didn't do anything but just watch football and take naps. But
speaking of football, where is the football? Do you have it still? Have you lost it?
That's behind me. It's way back there. It's too far away.
Make sure you haven't. It's
too far away. And then my Saturday started
lose a lot of stuff. So
my Saturday started off great by I win bets though, like the Ohio State Iowa bet. So my day started off fantastic with my lock of the weekend: Ohio State minus 30 against Iowa.
Yourself.
We'll get more into that when we get to the college football slate. But other than that, I
don't like you very much right now.
And
I'll never trust you again. Just so you know.
So and then I think I took. During the 3:30 slate, I think I ended up falling asleep at some point during the 7 o'clock slate because I was up, randomly up, and then it's after the late night slate. It's 11:30 at night, and I'm just wide awake. I'm like, well, might as well watch a movie. So I watched that
movie?
That
Was
Megan
it good?
Leavey.
I loved it.
Great movie, but shit, fuck that movie.
I made my dad cry too. I cried, my dad cried, and I knew, because the thing is, we are such dog people that when she wasn't able to adopt that motherfucker, dude, I was so pissed at our military, because it's a true story. Megan Leavey, for those who haven't watched it, Amazon Prime original, unbelievably good. I spent a lot of time reading her Wikipedia page and just about what she was about. There were parts of that movie that just hit way too close to home. And when she was like, I'm not going to re-enlist, granted, she just got blown up. I don't blame her for not re-enlisting. And they just shipped her dog. Spoiler alert, guys, if you haven't seen the movie, maybe check back in like 2 minutes. But when they shipped Rex back out, Case, I was like, these motherfuckers, dude. I was so pissed.
Right.
So you enjoyed it. But
yeah, it was a good movie.
It
was a good movie.
Fuck the Yankees. But when she showed up with Rex to Yankee Field to get like recognized, I was full on crying.
Yeah, I was okay with that. That was the only.
Izzy has to go. I gotta give me a second.
Yeah, that's fine. What does she want, a treat?
No.
What's up, August?
Yeah, August was hanging out, so I'm just gonna leave my door open and they can come and go as they please. But yeah, I'm glad you watched it. My dad really enjoyed it. My dad really enjoyed it.
No, it was a good movie.
But he was like, dude, you could have given me a heads up. And I was like, no, I didn't think you'd watch it if I told you that it made me cry.
And thing is, you warned me, and I should have known. I was like, no, don't watch it. Don't watch it. And I fucking did.
And I'm not afraid. I tell the old lady all the time, like, I'm a crier during movies. It doesn't take a lot. Like, I get really involved in the storyline.
Yes.
I'm susceptible to that. I'm a man enough to admit it. I know it's just a movie, but the fact that it's based on a true story and
the thing is, I already get myself in my head a lot, and I just put myself in that situation.
I know, right? You're like, I would kill somebody if
I would
couldn't adopt that dog.
Just like that part to where like, okay, fuck it, I really don't care. Who knows if people are really gonna watch it?
Just
the part to where she got blown up, and then not when she got blown up, when they got ambushed.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get away. The dog jumped in. She was trying to jump in, and then she fell out. And the dog jumped back out after her. I was like, Tucker would 100% do that.
Yeah, so would Izzy. Because they're like, well, I'm not going to get in this car full of strangers.
Yeah, Tucker would 100% do that.
Yeah, where they're like, I'm more concerned about your safety than I am mine. And they're dogs. They don't have any idea that's their training. I thought one of the best parts of the movie was that part, like the Humvees trying. Oh, Tucker boy. Now I want is hold on. I had to mute my mic.
It's a great movie.
So that part where she falls out, like obviously they're trying to get in the Humvee, right? Like we gotta go. Enemy insurgents are here. And she falls out, and the dog didn't even think. He was like, oh, she's there, I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally. He saw her fall, then he just immediately just jumped out and then got on top of her to make sure she was safe.
The part that pissed me off the most, and because, as you know, with Izzy, I've dealt with some shitty vets. Well, one shitty vet was when they were like, they put that note down, unadoptable. And it's like, this guy's a war hero, and I know it's an animal. Like, we at times in life, you have to put a dog down because it's either too expensive to fix what they have going on and it's not worth it at their age or whatever it is. They're not a human. I fully understand that. But being a dog guy, I'm like, this guy's a war hero. He saved countless American lives. Not to mention the Iraqi lives that he also saved because citizens didn't get killed because of a bomb. To then be like, we're just going to put him down and not give someone the opportunity to adopt them when the one person that wants to adopt them is already their handler, that pissed me off so much. I was fucking double birding the TV at that. I was like, go, and I love vets. Shout out to Kylie Lafferty. I love vets, okay? I do. And anyone that deals with dogs. But for you to fucking treat an American hero like Rex that way is unbelievable. You're just going to put them down? Because they can't make the military money anymore? Like, that's pathetic to me. I didn't like that part. That part pissed me off. And I'm glad that Megan Leavey said this even in an article I read, that's the reason she went on to be a vet tech, because she thought that people needed to have more of a voice in sticking up for animals. And I'm as level-headed as they come with animals. I mean, I get it. Like, sometimes it's time. You know what I mean?
Sometimes the dog is just way too aggressive, and you can't risk it. But I mean, I don't know.
what they said made sense. Like, if there was, like, a little kid with a toy gun on the street, he might be triggered. Well, trust the handler, Megan Leavey, in this situation, the owner, to, like, prevent situations like that from happening.
You know what your dog's been through, and you know what your dog can.
So just
be
keep
around
him leashed up, right? And
right.
And trust and love and do everything you can for this animal, because it saved. I mean, one, the military spends ungodly amount of money training these dogs, right? So then to just after 8 years or however long it was to be like, you know what? No. Come on, man. I thought it was a good movie. I'm glad you ended up watching it. I'm glad
it was a good movie.
Because typically, folks, what happens when I give Casey a movie recommendation, he's like, well, I really liked the start of it, but I only made it through 30 minutes before I fell asleep. And that's like, not because Casey's like not a movie guy. Casey will watch movie. Just a lot of time he just start him late and he gets tired and falls asleep. So
I just can't sit there and watch something. I have a short attention span.
So.
Fuck movies.
Good movie, though. It was
a good movie. That was a really good movie. No, and then Sunday, went over to the parents' house, had family dinner, and then we carved pumpkins and then caramel apples.
Oh, you did carve a pumpkin. How'd yours turn out?
I didn't carve one. I can't.
Oh, did you help London at least?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, because... Sorry. Forgot.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
What'd you have for dinner at least? You get some leftovers out of it?
No, some other chicken, but it was good.
Good. Well, at least you had some good time with family.
Yeah.
Let's see, my weekend recap. Friday, obviously, we went to our local high school football game. Me and the old lady did. My golf partner's daughter is a senior at Lincoln High School here in Ypsilanti. And so it was her last home game as a cheerleader, her last game, because I don't think they're making the playoffs. So we went to support her. Afterwards, we met Casey for a beer. Friday was a relatively chill night. I was in bed early on Friday. And then Saturday, watched college football all day. Saturday feels like a lifetime ago because I had such a Sunday. I'm trying to think. The old lady and I got a nice we had like a fancy dinner date Saturday night. So we went out, we went to this place where you could order a $40 steak, which she did. It was delicious. They serve breakfast food all day. And for those who don't know, I'm a breakfast guy. And so I got fucking scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, ham, toast, and at this fancy dinner place. And I wanted
How much of it did you eat? 2 bites?
I ate, it was big portions, but I ate quite a bit. I know I am typically like the guy that I don't eat a lot. I know that. But
he literally orders, he'll get, if we go to he'll order a shit ton of food. He'll order a whole steak. Okay, maybe not a steak.
I'll always eat
a whole steak.
Yeah.
He'll get chicken tenders and fries, and he'll
3
eat,
of them.
He'll eat 2 bites of his chicken tenders and 1 fry, and then he's like, "I'm done."
Yeah, I know. That's why people love going out to eat with me, because they I'll just get an app and eat whatever he doesn't eat.
Right.
But so we went to this place. It's called Zola's, I think, off of Washtenaw, in a strip mall. But it's fancy. It was really good. I had an old fashioned there that was as good as one that I've ever had. But when she told me she was getting the steak, I was like, okay, well, I can have a bite of that to see if it's good. I'd never been there. Kelsey had been there, so I got there and I was just in the mood for breakfast, man. And I usually will never turn down a steak.
I can't believe it.
I went, dude, the best bacon I've ever had in my life. It was so unbelievably good that I almost ordered some just to take home for when I made breakfast the next morning and be like, I'll warm it up. It was that good. So that's what we did Saturday night. We went to Frazier's afterwards for a nightcap, went home, and then Sunday I had golf. Sunday I played in a 3-man scramble in Whitmore Lake out at Rolling Meadows. was like a haunted pin, 3-man scramble. The pin locations were insanity. It was a lot of fun. I hadn't golfed since my last week of league, which was probably sometime in August. So I had some time off. I played 9 holes the day before that to like kind of be like, okay, let's remember how to swing a golf club here. Played pretty well. I putted lights out. Our approach shots were horrible, so I was making a lot of par safe putts, which, as we know, will not win you anything in a scramble. We got to make birdies, got to make some eagles. But I hit one on a par 3. It was our second to last hole, par 3. Probably the closest hole-in-one scare I've ever had in my life. Pitching wedge from like 135. I thought it went in. It was the way they had the pin place, it rolled. I don't know because we weren't up there, but from our vantage point, it hit the pin and kicked left. And we probably had 6 feet for birdie. And the thing was, and this is what I wanted to bring this up on this podcast. So because it's a like Halloween themed scramble, there were some gimmicky holes. One of the holes, they had pumpkins all in front of the pin. So you had to at least fly it over the pumpkins, or if you were short, you were going to be putting right around and then have to go left, right? So kind of like that hard pin scramble you and I played in at Timber Trace. So let me ask you if this would have counted. The hole was probably 3 or 4 times the size of a normal hole. If I went in, would have counted as a hole in one.
No.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't think I would have been able to count it. I mean, on the scorecard because of the event, I would have counted it. Obviously, it went in. But I don't know, like, in our golf circles, if I would have been able to be like, hey, I got a hole in one.
Yeah, no, if you said it, I would definitely call you out.
Like, it was probably 4 times the size of a regular hole. I mean, it was massive. Like, the size of a head. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about. They have, like, the big cup tournaments, and that's how all of them are. They're all...
Okay, so you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're like 10 inches.
And so I think that it was going in hot. I mean, I flew the number, and I might have hit the pin, honestly, because it was like, holy shit, you're right at it. Probably had 6 feet, made it for birdie. And then I made my first ever eagle in my life, which some people are like, what the fuck, you golf all the time? Not that great. We took my drive, my approach, and my putt, and I went first on all 3 shots. So I'm going to say that I got my first ever eagle, even though it was a scramble, because even though they swung, we didn't take any of their things, and I went first on all 3. So I'm saying I'm at my first eagle.
Okay, congratulations.
All right, so that was my weekend. I had a Sunday
There's
fun
just
day.
an asterisk next to that.
I'll accept that. Eagle with an asterisk. We can virtually shake over that.
I'm not shaking over it, but you can say it.
Okay. I got to play golf today. Today was fun. I played like shit, but that's fine.
Congrats.
I'm probably done golfing for the year. Don't be a sourpuss just because you have a sore wrist. You can at least be excited for me.
I'm just being real. You saying you got an eagle? You got an eagle in the scramble? Congratulations.
It was all my shots.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't think it's an eagle, just say you don't think it's an eagle.
I mean, well, if it's a par 5, then obviously that's an eagle.
It was par 5.
Okay, then you got an eagle.
Par 5.
Did you want me to like give you a fucking batch of cookies?
I will say this next year.
What type of cookies do you want?
Chocolate chip, but not soft.
Do you want me to make
Maybe
them like a fucking
sugar
hockey
cookie
puck?
would be good.
I'll give you a hockey puck sugar cookie.
Let me put it this way. Next year, when you're healed up, not if you're healed up, we're going to play in that event because I think you would have a lot of fun. Dude, I've never seen... There was
if I'm healed up.
Last thing I'll say about this golf thing. There was a bunch... Most people dressed up. I didn't. We've talked about this on the pod. I don't like dressing up. So I'm in the parking lot getting my shoes on, and there's this grown man, probably our dad's age, like 55 plus, and full on clown uniform with face paint. and his buddies are walking towards him also dressed up. And this guy's bitching. Like, I got out of the car, this guy being like, this fucking thing, these guys made me fucking dress up. And he meets his buddy, and I'm like looking, and he's like, they're like, oh, you actually did it. You actually had, put face paint on. And the guy was like, yeah, well, if we're going to start 3 under, like, I wasn't going to be the only one that dressed up. His buddies told him that if they all had matching outfits, they would start 3 under. They didn't start 3 under. And this guy, when he found out, he was like, you fucking assholes. He's like, the one guy's name was Jeffrey, just from the convo. He goes, Jeffrey, fuck you. I knew it. I should have trusted you. He goes, you know how fucking early I woke up to make sure I got this shit done? And they were laughing so hard. I was like, that's going to be me and my friends when we're like old. Like, they just trolled their one friend that they knew would be gullible enough to fall for it. And he's like, well, if we're going to start 3 under, I'll dress up. They're like, hey, hate to break it to you, boss. You're not starting 3 under. This shit was so funny. But, that's my weekend. It was a fun day. It was a fun day. We had a beautiful weekend here in Michigan. But that does it for the weekend recap. MLB playoffs. We are a Phillies podcast.
We are a Phillies podcast. Hold on.
We are a Phillies podcast. Phillies beat the Padres 4-1. Electric series. It was about as much of an ass whooping as an ass whooping could be in baseball. The one game they lost, they led 4-0 at one point. They just had a bullpen collapse late in the game. The Phillies are not a team that you want to play, and I think the Astros would agree with that. The Astros beat the Yankees 4-0, swept the Yankees in the ALCS. I think Aaron Boone should get fired, but personally, as a Red Sox fan, I hope they keep him forever because the Yankees will then never have to worry about a postseason run if Aaron Boone's the manager of the Yankees. Unbelievably bad performance by the Yankees in the ALCS.
Oh, I agree.
We'll circle back to the Phillies, but right now, I hate the Yankees, and
We want Houston.
What an idiot.
We want Houston. Yeah, you got all of Houston and you lost in 4. I saw something that Game 4 tickets went from $200 down to $20.
Saw the same thing. The Yankees fans bailed. Pathetic performance.
Cowards. Yankee fans are fucking cowards.
Not to mention the fact that, like, hey, a team's come back 3-0 against you. Maybe you guys would have the gumption to believe that you could do it yourselves.
Right.
In 2018, the Yankees did the same thing. We want Boston. They started chanting it. And you know what happened that season? The Red Sox won it all. So I've never been more disgraced as a fan base. When the Yankees fucking won the DS, when they beat Cleveland after a series that was also closer than it should have been, at least on paper, these motherfuckers celebrated like they won the World Series. I was seeing shit burning in Brooklyn, in the Bronx. Not Brooklyn, the Bronx. These guys were in the streets acting like they had just won the world. I'm like, you beat the Indians. Or Guardians, sorry. What are we doing? I thought this was supposed to be the premier baseball franchise. I thought these were the winners of all winners. And they win one fucking ALDS, and you would have thought New York was going to burn down. And I knew then that they were in trouble. I'm like, the Astros have been here, guys. Like, this is the premier American League team of the last 6 years, right? Like, the Astros have just always been in the mix. And the Astros didn't just win, they beat the shit out of them. 4-0. Yankees never even sniffed a chance to make it to the World Series. And if you're asking me, I think Aaron Boone's got to be on the hot seat because they've spent money, they brought in talent, and they just underperform. And that video of Garrett Cole telling what's-his-face that they trade Harrison Bader, I got you, bro. Don't worry about dropping that pop flag.
That shit was so funny. I got you, bro.
2-run dinger. Like, go, dude. You guys stink. Garrett Cole's a weirdo. Aaron Judge, overrated. Like, listen, their entire season was predicated not around them winning a World Series. It was, will Aaron Judge hit 60 or 62 or whatever it is? And he does it, and then everything after that was just a wet, sloppy fart. That's all I gotta say. I mean,
No, I can agree.
like, what are we even talking about here, Casey? Like, the fact that the Yankees haven't been they won it in 2009, and then like that's
Are
it.
you secretly a Yankees fan?
Why?
'Cause
I'm
you're
worked
like
up?
you're starting to get worked up over the fucking Yankees.
No. I just hate the hype. I hate the hype every year. I hate the Yankees. I'm glad they lost. I really am. But like from a like when you're talking about like from a sports perspective, someone that's just observing, it's like what it's the same thing with the Mets this year. What the fuck? You spend all this money and all this thing, but it's the same story with the Yankees every time. Oh no. It's the same story with the Yankees every time, man. Like, they have all the talent in the world, and then they get to the playoffs, and it's like, they're like, yeah, you know, it was fun. And they mail it in. And, like, from a sports, like, watching perspective, it's, like, bizarro. Like, it's super bizarre as a sports fan. Even if I don't like them, I'm not rooting for them. It's really bizarre to watch. And you're like, how much longer can they hold on with Aaron Boone, who seems to be ultra passionate, ultra involved, seems to have his players' backs. I mean, every other week he's getting ejected defending one of his players. But they get to the playoffs and like Garrett Cole collapses. It's like I'm glad. Like I said, keep Aaron Boone forever because then I'll know.
Like him and what's his name out in L.A. Dave Roberts.
Same thing.
Same thing with
they should have won 4 World Series in the last 10 years.
Yankees, Dodgers. All you hear all fucking year, and then all of a sudden they get to the playoffs and
they're so good in the regular season,
ain't
they
there.
just suck. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
bizarro to watch because it's like, fuck, the Yankees were so dominant all year, and yeah, they had their rough patches, but they're at times they look, I hate to say it, like the best team in baseball, and they get to the postseason, they barely get by the Guardians. And then they go and just lay a goose egg against the Astros, who admittedly are one of their biggest rivals, especially after the Astros got caught cheating. The Yankees are the team that took the most exception to that whole sign stealing scandal. Goodness gracious. I start talking fast and, but like
that's a tongue twister there.
The Yankees were the most pissed off about that because that was a young Yankees team that should not have even been in Game 7 of the ALCS, and they come to find out that the Astros are cheating. That, as an organization, the New York Yankees took the most exception to it. They were the most upset, right? Everyone was upset. The Yankees were the most upset, and then you just can't beat them. I mean, like, what are we doing here? So Astros move on. Verlander might get another ring. Claps to Justin Verlander. Good for him. Tigers got absolutely fleeced in that trade. He's just killed it. He's like ageless. He reminds me of Nolan Ryan. Just still dominant. Even when he didn't have his best stuff, and what was that, Game 1 or 2 of that series, he gutted it out, held him to like 2 runs. It should be a hell of a series. Astros-Phillies. It should be good. I think I'm going to ride with the hotter team. I think Phillies get it done in 6. I texted you that last night.
I'm going fucking Phillies.
Yes! I love this pick.
I'm going Phillies. I'm going Phillies in 6.
I love that. I think
I'm going Phillies in 6.
Their offense is just too hot, Case, man.
I agree. That's what I think it is. Bryce fucking Harper. That's all I gotta say.
Dude, too bad. Like, he's like batting 400 in the playoffs right now. Like, you can't buy it out.
Did you see his reaction after he hit the home run that sent him to the World Series?
Yeah.
He was like, I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Like, it was like he was like in shock that he was the one that actually did that.
You know, I'm really happy for Bryce Harper because he gets some flack for being like what people would call like a douchebag. He's as authentic as they come. And people forget that, like, in the baseball world, he had LeBron James level hype around him. He was supposed to be the next best thing ever. And it's one of those things where it's like good is never good enough. Because if you look at his time with the Washington Nationals, he was damn good. I think he won an MVP there. He was very good, but that team just wasn't. And even the few times they just never had enough. And it was like, well, it was fine.
Like they had enough to get to the playoffs, and then from there, nothing.
Yeah, it was hard. And you know what? Maybe during his time with the Nationals, he's brash. He's not gonna mince much, and he's authentic. Like, he says what's on his mind, and I appreciate that about him. And that's why I'm a low. I don't say low key. I am a Bryce Harper fan. Like, I appreciate his authenticity. He wears his heart on his sleeve, right? And I appreciate that. And I think that for him, like, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as like 16. It's like the next Babe Ruth or whatever the thing was. He reclassified early out of high school so he could go to junior college at like 16 and a half years old. So then he could get drafted earlier. And to finally see him be able to get a chance in the World Series, I'm thrilled about. He took a chance on himself when he went to Philadelphia. He knew how hard of a sports town that was. He could suck in Washington, D.C. People are not paying attention to sports there for the most part, man. They're worried about...
Oh, you suck in Philly, you're going to hear it.
You could bet 300 in Philly and you might still hear it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm super pumped for him as an individual. Like, I'm happy for Bryce. He signed here on that mega deal, and you automatically are like, you better win us something or else it was never worth it. You could win 2 MVPs, but if you don't win a World Series, no one cares, right?
Yeah, and now if he won one, it's all that contract's worth it.
Paid for. It already paid for, right? So, I have personal interests, personal things invested in the Phillies. I desperately want to see them win. I think it's going to be a good series, but like in all honesty, I do think the Phillies are the hotter and better team right now.
I mean, the way I look at it is like, yes, I like Verlander. I like Verlander a lot, but it's...
Yeah, of course.
I like Castellanos. I like Schwarber. I like Bryce Harper.
Yeah, and
Phillies in 4-6.
I might low-key have a new man crush. Kyle Schwarber might be my new man crush.
Dude, that dude hits
fucking
bombs.
Dude.
Like, I might get me a Kyle Schwarber jersey.
Dude,
I'm not even... I told myself...
He's also like the coolest guy alive. Like, he
yes.
just like he hits bombs and like looks over at his dugout and does like the shimmy walk, and he's just like, dude, I wish I was that cool, man. Also, freak athlete. Like, he was also highly recruited as a linebacker in high school, and I'm like, he's kind of built like a linebacker. Like,
bro, he is 100%.
Like, the Lions could sign him, and he'd probably be their best linebacker. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But yeah, I like Phillies in 6. We're both on the same way there. We'll keep you guys posted throughout the series, obviously. When's that start, Case?
Friday.
I thought
so
I couldn't remember it was Thursday.
I was gonna say we probably won't bring it up until next week, just because
we could
just
do
brought
like
it
a
up now.
small preview, like on who the probable starters are on Thursday.
Or by then we'll probably know who's starting game 1.
Yeah, so we could at least like do a little preview show, but we won't be able to like, give you our. I mean, shit, they're gonna play 2 games before our next show.
Yeah,
so,
we'll be probably recording during game 3.
Yeah, so we'll give you guys a preview, give you guys an idea who we think's gonna win game 1 and 2 based on the probable starters. But other than that, it's gonna be tough to talk about because we're not gonna have time to do a show over the weekend just for baseball. But
yeah, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, so it's like 2-3-2. So
2-3-2. Yeah.
And who hosts? It's the Astros, right? Because they got the better record.
Houston.
Yeah.
Yes, Houston hosts.
So I would say this: all Philly has to do is win one out of the first 2 games, and I'm rock solid confident in our bet.
Oh, that's
to steal one.
They'll win in 6 if they steal 1, because I feel like they're going to definitely take 2 at home, 100%.
That's exactly what I feel. I feel the exact same. You win 1, you take 2 out of 3, then you just gotta win the next one, and you're good. I know the Astros have been super dangerous in the playoffs because they have so much experience. I just don't know if they have the starting pitching like Verlander, and they got Luis, wow, what's his name? Regardless, Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are throwing about as well as you can. I think it's going to be a high-scoring series.
It's one of those things that if the Phillies want to win, they're going to have to hit the Astros early. Like, you're going to have to get up to a early start. You're going to have to put up at least two to three runs in the first
up
3
after
innings.
4 or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that, to where you have a couple of runs already on the board after 2 or 3 innings, to where you're putting pressure on Houston to score runs, and then you make it at that point. You just hopefully your pitching just holds up. But anything else about baseball?
I would just say I expect it to be a high-scoring series.
So do I. But I think we both have Phillies in 6.
Right? Yep. Cool. Hey, let's go Phillies.
Let's go Phillies.
Let's go Phillies. Oh,
let's go Phillies.
All right, last thing I have here. This is the last thing. So, my mom grew up in Philadelphia, and my dad has been searching around the house. He doesn't think he would have thrown it away after she passed, but she had like a Philly fanatic like doll, like stuffed animal or whatever.
I know what you're talking about. I got London a green monster. I know what you're talking about.
So
the stuffed animal of the mascot. I know what you're talking about.
So he's been looking everywhere because he's like, we'll set it out like during the World Series run. Can't find it. So my dad happened to tweet. B-Web says on Twitter, great follow.
I saw that.
Some guy's sending us one.
I saw that.
Yeah.
No, I saw Bridge tweet, and I saw a Phillies fan tweet at him and said, "Hey, I will send." Is he really sending him one?
So I responded because I was worried my dad wouldn't follow up, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm B-Web says his son. If you can't get that from the names, the Twitter handles." I said, that would be awesome. I said, but no stress if not. Like, we live in Michigan. And he goes, what's your address, man? It'll be there sometime this week. So I sent him which I was a little nervous about. I don't like it. But I'm like, I went through his tweets. He's actually a diehard Twitter, like, Phillies fan. So I did a little bit of research. I was like, I don't want to just send anyone our address. Not that I'm worried. Like, full disclosure, we're a Second Amendment household. Like, you would regret, like, trying. Plus, we got big dogs. Like, Not to be weird or anything.
You would
just for anyone that's wondering, you would not want to do that. So I was like, at the end of the day, like, whatever. Like, if he wants to be a weirdo, then that would be the last mistake probably he'd ever make in his life. So he was like, yeah, no problem. Like, I sent him my address, and I was like super thankful. I was like, let us know. Like, I'm happy to, like, if you have a Venmo or whatever. And he's like, dude, seriously, like, just happy to support. Like, glad that your mom was a Phillies fan. And so I talked to my dad about it like the next day. I'm like, hey, by the way, like, just so you know, I did send that guy. He goes, he DM'd me too. He goes, so we both sent him that. So it should be here sometime this week. Cause if not, my aunt was going to buy my dad one, like as a surprise. I was talking to her about it. And Kelsey also already had one in her Amazon account. And I was like, guys, I think some stranger on the internet's going to take care of us.
That's fucking cool.
Let's just let it ride. So that was super cool. I want to bring that up because that's like, obviously my dad's a Tigers fan. I'm a Red Sox fan, but we default because of my mom to the Phillies when we can.
Well, yeah.
And so if this guy actually sends us one,
I'll be a Phillies fan.
Good for that guy. And I will 100% shout him out. But I gotta receive the fanatic first. So.
Oh, right. No, I agree.
Fuck it. I'll throw it up on screen. If anyone watching this, just go give this guy a follow on Twitter. Shout out to that guy. I don't know his name. I had to pull it up, but it'll be up on screen. I'll remember. Let me write that down to edit that in. But that's it. All right, let's get into college football. We spent we're 41 minutes in, having started talking football.
Yeah. I know, and you said you literally told me before
let's try to make it an hour.
Let's make this under 2 hours. Let's try to make this an hour. And you went on a 20. You went on a 17.5-minute rant about the Yankees.
Yeah, I did.
You're a closet Yankee fan.
I'm not. I hate the Yankees.
So, I mean, you went on a rant about how they aren't winning World Series. So, I mean, that's on you. But moving on, college football week 8. Sorry, I forgot to say cue the music.
I'm not speaking about this game. So you say whatever you want. I'm ready for the next one.
Okay. So, first game on the list. You're muted.
You are the worst friend in the history of friends. Are you go fuck
Can we
yourself.
get to the game?
Are you
Can we get
kidding
to
me?
the game? Can we get to the game? Jesus Christ, relax, dude. Pull out the Drake and Josh meme. Whoa, take it easy, man. Iowa heads to the shoe and plays the Ohio State University. Ohio State wins 54-10. What are your thoughts on this game, T? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts.
Your thoughts on
My thoughts are that Casey is not only a bad friend, but a worse podcast host, co-host. You know, we already went into this last episode. I fucking genuinely wanted his advice, and I took it, and I didn't back off of it, because I thought, you know what? I believe in karma, and Casey will get fucked with this because he's going to have some bad karma coming his way by literally making me think that I took the right side of that bet, and I obviously didn't. Iowa looked good. At
the beginning. No.
At the first half, I was like,
I legitimately thought Iowa was going to cover, and I was like, oh my God, this cannot happen. I was like, Ohio State has to cover 30. Or next episode, I am fucked. But hey, Ohio State pulled it out second half, stomped Iowa, ended up winning by 44 points. That's what you get by giving me two bad bets a couple weeks ago.
I didn't do it on purpose, though. That's
what you get, and that's what you get for fucking asking me a stupid question. Ask me a stupid, like I tell everyone.
I will literally never.
Like I
trust
tell
you
everyone.
again.
Like I tell everyone. You ask me a stupid question, I give you a stupid answer.
Not
Right?
only the fact that I lose this game, Casey randomly hit me on Twitter later that day and was like, "Hey, how'd Iowa do?" Just like to let everyone know that I was on the wrong fucking side of it. Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, to get serious about it, like, yeah, fuck Casey. I can't believe he led me down a dark alley just to get mugged like I did. But
it was so funny. The whole day that you were like, I'm away from work, you're like, I like Iowa plus 30. I was like, yeah. I love it. Their defense. I sold it so well, and you called my bluff
1,000 times. I said I'm not going to believe you. And
1,000 times.
You were like, I'm serious, and I was like, all right, because there was a part of me that was like 30 against Iowa. Like, never touching Iowa again. Never listening to you again. Fuck both the University of Iowa and you, Casey.
Oh my God.
I will say this. The one thing I will say, like from like an actual like sports podcast like perspective, my number one fear came to fruition in this game, and it was that Iowa just wasn't going to score enough points. Like, their defense looked solid in the first half, and it's gonna be like the cover 30. You just have to score enough to keep up with a really good Ohio State offense, and that was my fear the whole time. It's like Iowa's going to have to hold Ohio State under 45 probably to keep it close enough, and they just couldn't do that.
That's what I mean. I mean, I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Because their offense is the worst in the country.
Offense sucks. And other than that game against Notre Dame, Ohio State has put up 40-plus
every game.
Every single game they played.
And granted, like we give Michigan a lot of shit. Ohio State hasn't played anybody either. So
no, they haven't. But it's one of those things that the difference between the two is you have a Michigan team that struggled against Indiana, and then they beat them, but it's like you're not beating teams like Ohio State is beating
that's
teams.
Not. I don't know if that's necessarily fair.
Teams.
I don't know if that's necessarily fair.
No, I'm Michigan's good. I mean, I'm not saying Michigan's dog shit. It's just, in my opinion, there's like different tiers of college football.
Because you look at hold on, let me push. Finish your thought. Sorry, finish your thought.
I mean, it's just. I mean,
you said there's different tiers of college football.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, right now, Bama's not up there, but it's like when Bama's Bama, you have your Bama, Georgia, Ohio State. I mean, I would say Michigan's up there, but I wouldn't. They're like a step or two away from getting there, in my opinion.
I think
that goes to
they
coaching.
have to prove it, right? They have to prove it, right?
They have to prove it to me, just because it's to me, Jim Harbaugh, he wins games and he can possibly win a big game or two, but like if you're talking about winning 3 to 4 to 5 big games in a year, I don't see it happening.
So a couple things there to unpack. I would say this. I would say Ohio State likes to run. They have a different offense than Michigan, so they're like when they are playing a bad team, they're automatically going to score more points. Michigan just runs the football more than Ohio State does. You're going to score less points that way. But like to that point, Ohio State got flack earlier this year in the media for running up the score against Rutgers, and I think Harbaugh's over that part of his tenure at Michigan where they could have scored 70 against Colorado State, but they played 7 different quarterbacks. So Michigan did. Like they let guys that would have never even smelled the field this year get a chance to at least hand the ball off because they, whatever. So when we're talking just comparing Michigan to Ohio State against like how Michigan played Iowa, they also played Iowa at Kinnick. That matters. Like that's going to change a little bit. Michigan has all year, the thing Michigan's done well is second half adjustments. And I think Ohio State's done the same thing. They did against Notre Dame, where they made some really important second half adjustments that ultimately allowed them to win the game. And they did the same thing last week against Iowa, because that first half, Ohio State
struggled.
They probably were always going to win the game, but they weren't getting in the end zone.
No,
right?
It was one of those things that they were driving the ball really good down the field, and then they got to the red zone and then stopped.
Yeah,
couldn't do anything. Then
it's like Iowa's bend don't break offense. Like was actually working.
46-yard field goal, 41-yard field goal, 35-yard. It's like you're getting to the red zone, you're getting close enough, and then you're just stalling, and then
but they came out in the second half, and it was like they just figured it out. So
they fucking throttled them second half.
We'll probably have a whole segment on Ohio State Michigan this year, because it could potentially be the biggest game of our lifetime in that series.
No. They were 1-2 in 06.
I'd see. I was just so I know I was 11,
I'm talking. Okay,
I guess from my adult lifetime.
From what we can remember, I know what you're talking.
I just
about.
wasn't in. I know.
Because
I went to a party
remember
that year.
I know. I went to a party down the street that year from my parents' house.
Right. Exactly. So I had one. I'm that. It was a big deal, but I just was like,
well, we were too young. I mean, what in 06, I was 10 and you were 11.
11. I know, and I was a fan of Michigan, but I was busy playing toy soldiers in the backyard.
That was back when I think Troy Smith was
so cold at
Ohio State's quarterback.
Yeah, because I think Ohio State beat Michigan that year and relegated Michigan to the Rose Bowl, because I remember my mom bought me a bunch of Michigan Rose Bowl shit, and I was like, oh, we lost, because I thought we were going to be going to the national championship game. So, but that I know we're weeks out. That Ohio State Michigan game is just building steam. We're potentially going to see another top 4 matchup when they play.
Right.
And
not really. It's going to be Ohio State 2, Michigan. We'll say 8.
Oh, because you think they're going to lose to State this week? Moving on.
Might be my dog of the week. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see on Thursday, and we'll talk a little Michigan State at the end of the college football segment, just because I want to preview and tease it a little bit. But so Casey, go fuck yourself. I can't believe that you won.
Hold on 1 second. You good? Fucking idiot.
Everything okay?
Yeah, Tucker's just a dumbass.
Okay. I was gonna say, just fuck yourself. I really thought you were being genuine. I lost. I should have changed it. You did give me the opportunity to change it.
And you saw it before the show sheet.
Just snarl.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Loud and clear. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Well, do we need to take a quick break to see you go outside? Is he good? Next game. This was a banger of a game. Number 14 Clemson heading to number 5 Number 14 Syracuse heading to number 5 Clemson. Excuse me. Clemson wins a close one, 27-21. This makes me concerned. This
was a great game. This was a good game.
It was. Syracuse looked a lot better than people gave them credit for. But then on the same end of that, did Clemson just look worse? Because Clemson took a long time to convince us that they were legit. The last couple weeks,
they didn't start looking good until they benched their QB. DJ Ukulele got benched.
Yeah, they said this isn't working out right now.
I can't even pronounce this dude's last name.
So we just call him Ukulele.
Their backup quarterback.
Oh, hold on. I didn't know.
Klubnik.
What'd you say?
Klubnik.
I don't know. I'm looking at the depth chart right now. Just go ahead. What were your thoughts about the game initially? Like I
thought Clemson was going to fucking roll.
We both took them 13.5. We both took Clemson minus 13.5.
I mean, Syracuse looked good. I mean, I remember this was the 12 o'clock slate game, so I had Ohio State and
Klubnik.
I forgot who else on.
Or Klubnik. It's probably
Klubnik or something like that. Klubnik.
Cade Klubnik, freshman.
Yeah, I had Ohio State and then someone else on. And then I think it was Kansas, Ohio State and Kansas on. And then all of a sudden I saw Syracuse is up 21-7. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is going on there? So then I threw this game on after, I think it was after, I took off the Kansas game because I was like, that Kansas bet is chalked. They look horrible. Baylor's just running and throwing all over, and Baylor's going to win that game by a lot. So I turned that game off and threw on the Syracuse game, and that game, then Clemson started coming back. I mean, that was a pretty good game.
It was a good game. I have to shout out to one of our L2s, one of our loyal listeners out there. We call them L2s. Shout out to Danny. He said that's way too many points in this game, and he took Syracuse, so good for him. I was super convinced that Syracuse was overrated. They had one of the weakest schedules in the country heading in that game. But he was right. They always seem to play Clemson tough. Tough, hard-nosed football team. I think Syracuse, that's the thing that let me put it this way. The thing that I'm most confused about this game is I don't know if I come away feeling better about Syracuse or worse about Clemson. I'm not sure where I fall on that. I thought Syracuse minus 13.5 was an easy bet. I thought they were going to steamroll, Clemson minus 13.5. I thought they were going to steamroll Syracuse. Kept it competitive enough. We'll see what happens with Clemson going forward. But the thing is that the ACC is just so goddamn weak that I don't know if Clemson even gets another test. They're probably going to end up undefeated. And
I think they have Wake coming up.
Well, they already played Wake, so they have to play them in the conference championship.
Did they?
Yeah, remember we went to B-Dubs. We were at B-Dubs for that game, and I told you that the one dude's dad was like talking all that shit. They played.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was looking at Syracuse's schedule.
Oh, you're good. No worries.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, though, like, Clemson's probably a shoo-in now to be undefeated.
Well, I know Notre Dame sucks, but they play in ND next weekend.
Yeah, Clemson could lose that game, to be completely honest.
They have a bye week, then they play in ND, home against Louisville, home against Miami, and then home against South Carolina.
So I took a nap during this game. Did DJ Ukulele get benched because of poor performance, or did he get hurt?
I think so.
What was the reason?
I wasn't really paying much attention to this one. Really.
No, that's. I was just curious. I wasn't sure if you knew.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's when my nap kind of started in the afternoon.
Yeah, I felt
like I was up. I
game.
had to have.
I was up super early Saturday morning.
I was up until like 3 or 4 in the morning Saturday night, and usually I'm in bed by, I would say, midnight on the weekends at the latest, maybe 1, depending on the weekend. But I never stay up late, and I finished that Megan Leavey movie. It was like 2:30 when that finally got over, and I stayed up for another, I think, hour after that. It was insane. So I took like a long ass nap at some point. I just don't remember when.
Yeah. To Good game. I like. Shout out to Syracuse. I don't know why, but I like when they're competitive in football for some reason. It might be their stadium. Something about them, like I think it's kind of intriguing when Syracuse is good at football.
Right.
Maybe it's just because they're such a basketball school that when they're actually good, like same with Kansas, like oh shit, you're finally competitive in another sport. Like let's go.
Right.
But I hate cheering for them in basketball. Like I hate Kansas basketball. I hate Syracuse basketball. But
I love Syracuse basketball.
Clemson gets it done 27-21. I think they extend their home winning streak to 38 straight. So, Ole Miss, LSU.
Hold on. Before we move on, we might have a QB controversy in New England. We might have a QB controversy in New England.
We have breaking news.
Breaking news.
Also,
Mac Jones just got benched.
That's not true.
Bailey Zappi just came into the game, started the second quarter, just drove the Patriots down the field and scored a fucking touchdown. Mac Jones is on the bench right now. Bailey Zappi scored him a touchdown. Look it up. I think they're reviewing the play to see if it was a touchdown, but Bailey Zappi is in playing quarterback. And he came in at the beginning. They're reviewing the play to see if he was in.
You know, I'm trying to pull it up. Also, if you ever need to type something like that into the show sheet, just use the chat feature because I'll see it right away. Because I always have the chat feature up on this. So if you ever need to type something to me to like, hey, like you have a booger in your nose, or like,
Where's
hey.
the chat feature?
So you see where it says studio on the right-hand side of Riverside? If you're on Riverside, you go like right above
right
your
there.
name. Yeah, go to chat. So I always have that up just in case you ever need to type something.
Okay.
That was a rude message, what you just said.
Well, I mean, I like to have my... Okay, bet. So I'll start doing that.
Yeah, I always have it up just in case. Not that we've ever utilized it, but it is a good thing to have.
Yeah, no,
like,
just in case. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, no.
All right, so Matt Jones just got benched.
Yeah, Mac Jones started the first quarter. He went 3 for 6, 13 yards, 1 interception. Bailey Zappi came in, started the second quarter, 1 drive, 3 for 3, 54 yards.
Don't be sad, be zappy.
1 TD. I think it's a confirmed touchdown.
Oops.
Yep, it is because I got
My dad
7.
just started bitching. I think he was watching a television show, and I accidentally just casted to the TV he was watching to instead of the one that's up. He's like, oh, what the fuck? Sorry, Dad. My bad, brother. Oops. It's just like out of habit, I cast the family routine. So like, oh, what the shit is this? I was watching something. You know? Oops. Sorry about that, bud. That's funny. I thought I heard, like, if he didn't yell, then I thought I heard him yell. But, wow, that's good breaking news, Case. We do have a QB controversy. That's been a talk at New England. We can get more into that when we get to the NFL section of the slate. But
we're not talking about this game. So it's just breaking news. Might as well bring it up now because it's breaking fucking news, dude. Breaking fucking news.
I was just gonna say that this was there had been rumors that Mac Jones and the organization had some tension, like prior to him being hurt. Like there was just some philosophical things that weren't going well. And, I like Mac Jones a lot. He's been on Barstool a lot podcast a lot, that like he just comes across as a guy that you would love to sit down and have a beer with. And, I think he's a stud, but I've been high on Bailey Zappi since he was at Western Kentucky. I thought he just showed a lot of promise, and I thought that was a steal where they got him in the draft this year. If Belichick's going to make any 4th, 5th rounder look like a superstar, of course it's Belichick, right? So
right, no, I agree.
All right, moving on to the next game, number 7, Ole Miss heading down to LSU. We could not have been more right about this game.
Dude,
LSU wins 45-20. Dude, it looked like Ole Miss was going to win.
Beginning of the game, I thought we were going to fucking be on the wrong side.
Yeah.
They were up 17-3 at one point.
I know. But that shows you that environment doesn't quit. It's tough to win in Death Valley, And Brian Kelly, good coach, makes adjustments, right? Like, listen, I know you're biased, but just track record speaks for itself. He's he's above average at least. LSU gets it done, wins 45-20 against Ole Miss, number 7 ranked. They probably fall outside the top 10. I'm not sure if you have that on here. You do?
Yeah, I have top 10.
Yeah,
they dropped to I think 15 or 16.
Yeah, and they should because they haven't played anybody. So they're
and they lost to an unranked team.
Right. And not much to say here. LSU could spoil some seasons heading down the line because it looks like they've got it figured out a little bit. I would not want to play. I would not want to play LSU right now, especially if, like, you're like an Ole Miss that's undefeated and you're like just trying to get to the next week to the next big game. But Lane Kiffin gets done. What do you think? You think Lane Kiffin takes the Nebraska job, or do you think he's going to ride it out at Ole Miss?
He'll probably ride it out at Ole Miss. I mean, why jump to the Big Ten when you can just stay in the SEC?
Should we talk about how I got duped?
Yeah. So Friday night,
the only reason I bring that up because you said Lane Kiffin would be a good person
Alabama
to take.
job.
Yeah. So go ahead and give the story.
So Friday night we're at the bar and Tyler's like, "Dude, Lane Kiffin's retiring at the end of the year."
No.
And he shows us this, or not Lane Kiffin,
Nick
Nick Saban. He said Nick Saban's retiring at the end of the year, and he shows us a tweet. That
Verified account.
Had the check mark that said Nick Saban is retiring, but
it wasn't just that. It was like, it was the way the tweet was wrote. Case you would agree that it was like
it looked legit,
very legit, and I
looked
had
very
a few
legit.
drinks. I'd had a few drinks.
I mean, it was one of those things that when he showed me, I didn't do my due diligence and actually look at the because the people get people all the time. The profile picture, the exact same exact bio, same exact name. It looks all the exact same, but the is where it is different at, and it might be a slightly different or it might be really obvious different. I didn't look at that, so I believed him. I was like, oh yeah. Then we were bullshitting. Tyler went around the entire bar.
I probably told 5 different people.
Nick Saban's retired. Nick
Yeah.
Saban was retired.
And the one guy, his name's Ty, he's like, I find that hard to believe. I was like, dude, I do too, but I just saw it on Twitter. And he's like, well, you can't believe everything you see on Twitter. I was like, dude, he's a sports writer. He's verified. Got my ass. It was so bad that I texted my dad. I'm like, hey, you're probably asleep, but just so you know, Nick Saban's done at the end of this year. So I saw him the next morning. It was like 8:30 in the morning, right? I go up, he's having his coffee. I'm like, bro, you see that Nick Saban news? And he goes, I've been listening to sports talk radio since 7:30. He goes, no one's brought it up. I was like, really? He goes, and I went on ESPN.com, not there. And I immediately just went red in the face. I'm like, I got. It's like I knew. If that's not on ESPN or no one's talking about it, that would be the number one headline. There wouldn't be, unless, like, Kobe Bryant dying would have been the only story relative that could have trumped
You're not the
that.
only one. Kelly in Vegas got to. Kelly in Vegas from Barstool got to. Because she tweeted Nick Saban retiring, I mark. Or I like the eye emoji.
I saw her tweet. That made me feel more comfortable about it. I'm like, okay, cool. And honestly, it was Pete Thamel, for those who are out there. Like, he is a prominent, like, college football, like, reporter. So, like, I thought for sure, dude, I was going up to everyone. I'm like, oh, Alabama's reign is over. Nick Saban's retiring. Must be a scandal. Like, no, dude, the only scandal is that you got by a fake Twitter account. God, that's so frustrating.
That shit's so funny.
But yeah, so Casey thought Lane Kiffin would have been a shoe-in. Or not a shoe-in, but like a good pick for the Alabama job.
I thought that. Moving on, next game.
Number 9.
UCLA heads to Oregon and plays number 10, Oregon. Oregon kicks the shit out of them.
This game wasn't even as close as the score.
45-30. Oh, no. I mean, it was pretty much Oregon's second quarter that won it.
What'd you say that was?
They got
21-3 or something like that in the second
28-10 in the second quarter.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty high on the Bruins. I thought Chip Clay was going to have that team ready, but it just goes to show you this is why college football is so special. You go to a place as tough to play as Eugene, Oregon, it's a different world. You know what I mean?
Oh, Nick's had himself a game. 22 of 28, 283 yards, 5 TDs, no interceptions.
He's playing well this year, man. I tried to tell you earlier in the year. I said the same thing. Bo Nix had a good game. I read you a stat line. You were like, but like I'm telling you, he's coming through. It's almost like he's in the perfect offense, right? They're not asking him to do too much. They're like, hey, we know you're talented, but when you try to play hero ball like Carson Wentz, it doesn't work out. You just need to like not turn the ball over, and we'll be okay. Oregon looks dominant. I mean, that was a motherfuck you win for Dan Lanning, and the Oregon Ducks. I still believe in UCLA. I think they're still going to be in the mix for the Pac-12 title game. But that's a lot. When you've played one, like for UCLA, they've played one game outside of Los Angeles all year, and I think it was either Colorado or Colorado State. Ain't nobody was there anyway. So they finally go on the road in a tough, amped up Eugene, Oregon environment. College Game Day was there. They were fired up. I mean, that's just a tough place to play. God, I'm stumbling today. Tough place to play. Excuse me, guys. And it was a damning win for Oregon, who shows that, yeah, we might have gotten punked by Georgia the first game of the season, but we're legit, and this wasn't a bad hire. You know what I mean? They looked good, man. That was a convincing win, and, you know, we got a three-team race in the Pac-12 or whatever it's called, as far as I'm concerned. I think UCLA, Oregon, USC are all in the mix to win that conference.
Utah.
Nah. I don't think two losses are going to get you into the title game.
Might never know.
This was
Every
a good
team
game.
has one. Next game, number 20, Texas heads up to Oklahoma and plays number 11, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State wins 41-34. Both quarterbacks sucked. Let me get to their stats in a second.
Yeah, this was a sloppy
Texas
game.
was up 31-17 in the second quarter at one point, and then Oklahoma State holds them to 3 points. Quinn Ewers, 19 of 49, 319 yards, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. Towards the end of the game, it just looked like he was trying to force some passes, and Oklahoma State intercepted the ball.
Yep.
Sanders, what's his name?
Spencer Sanders.
Spencer Sanders, horrible.
Yeah,
38 of 57, 391 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. I mean, this game, it was just, they scored a shit ton of points, so.
Yeah, the overhit.
But yeah.
38 of 57, that's not that bad. 66%.
You can't blow a lead like that, in my opinion.
No, the thing was like Spencer Sanders started off playing very poorly, and then he played better down the stretch. Obviously, that's why he got close. I thought Quinn Ewers looked like a guy that was just on a mission to try and do too much. You know what I mean? You have that kind of lead, man. Don't be afraid to throw it out of bounds and punt the football. Like, you have a multiple possession lead, and it's like you could win by 1, you could win by 15. You still won the game. Don't try to be a hero. You know what I mean?
Right. That
Texas team is just different when he is at quarterback, though, because although he did make some really bad throws, there are some throws. It's like it's evident why he was the number 1 recruit in the country at one point. He's got arm talent for sure. If he can put that all together at one point,
they'll be good. It's
I'm just thinking about him as an NFL prospect. Like,
he'll be good,
legit, if he can mentally put it together. And I'm not calling just be able to read a defense and make the right throw. It reminds Brett Favre got away with a lot because he had so much arm talent. He could throw the football in ways that people hadn't seen in a long time. So they lived with all the interceptions. NFL's going away from that. There time and time again, you're seeing, you got Mahomes, you got Josh Allen, but other types of quarterbacks are finding ways to. Geno Smith is winning football games because he's just being smart with the football, right? So there's just not a lot of. The NFL doesn't have the stomach for that type of run and gun type of offense.
Well, no, it's and I think it's one of those things that the NFL gives you.
You got
2 to 3 years in the NFL as starting quarterback, and then if you don't do good, they're moving on to the next guy. They're gonna draft your rookie.
And when you draft someone
pick.
high, they just get precedent, man. Like they just get a chance before. Like you had a chance to prove it, right? And you haven't done it yet. So,
well, it's like Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. I mean, Mitch Trubisky was playing decent. I'm not saying he was playing good, but he was playing decent. He had that one. As soon as he plays bad, boom. Next thing you know, you lose your job to a fucking rookie.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next game, number 24, Mississippi State, heading to Tuscaloosa to play number 6, Alabama. Bama wins 30-6. Casey, this was as predictable as time.
Oh, yeah, I agree. There's not much to say about it. I just thought we would bring it up since we kind of brought it up, and it was a top 25 matchup.
Well, I think
Bama pretty much just stomped them. They had Mississippi State had no shot. I mean, I think Bama could have probably won by a lot more than 30 or 24, but is what it is. They only put up 30 points. I mean, they pretty much almost shut out Mississippi State until the very end, and then Mississippi State scored a bullshit last-second touchdown at the very last second to get 6 points.
I'm looking something up. Hold on.
Other than that, I mean, I have nothing much to say about that game.
I was trying to go back to our old show sheet, but it just defaulted and pulled me up on this one. Was the spread 21?
Yes, 21 even.
20. Okay, so that's what I thought. I know we talked about it in our preview show. Or I'm not sure if I even had the chance. No, we didn't because that show didn't get posted. Saban, after losses, just doesn't lose. So it seemed like it was super easy to predict that they would whoop the shit out of Mississippi State. And, hey, for the record, we're both Mike Leach guys.
I agree.
We love Mike Leach. He's at the Mississippi State's head coach right now. But this was as predictable as time. I think since 2019, or since Mike Leach has been a coach there, one of the two, Mississippi State has played Bama twice after Bama lost in the regular season and won both by 30 plus. So this was as easy as a pick as they get. Bama, I still don't think they're the same old Bama team. I'm a little bit worried about them. Not that I'm a Bama fan, but I don't know how good Bama is. I think Bama is susceptible to some more losses this year, so keep an eye on that. Bama rolls them. Bryce Young, stud.
Yeah, he's good. He's really, really good.
Stud.
Yeah, there was this one play. He extended it. He runs back. And he's just running back, and then all of a sudden he just looks at his receiver and goes like this, and his receiver just breaks off from the corner, and then he just hits him wide open in the end zone.
The receiver was smart because after he realized there was a broken play, he kept his eyes at the quarterback, right? He didn't give up. He didn't try to block. He kept his eyes at the quarterback, back to the end zone, being like, which way do I need to go? And as soon as he saw him go like that, he was like, oh, shit, there's no safety over top. See you! And just really good. They used to talk back in the day, when Russell Wilson was good, Pete Carroll used to make their offense do scramble drills where basically they would have route trees, like you do a curl, you do a post, whatever, and Russ would have to run to the right, run to the left, and then plant his feet. And then from there, they had to figure it out because that was so much of their offense was like, hey, we don't have a great offensive line, but he's going to extend the play, make something happen. You guys have to stay creative as a wide receiver. And don't just think about, where would he want me to be? Where's an open part of the field? Let him make the throw, right?
Right.
And Bryce Young, he does this shimmy thing when defenders get close that it makes it look like he's wearing a Vaseline suit where they just can't get a hold of him. And I've noticed this the last 2 years I've watched him where he's not the biggest guy, but he lets these defenders get so close, and he hits them with this little shoulder shimmy, and they just go flying by him. And I know it looks easy on TV, but he has to have just some type of ability to – he just has this finesse thing about him where I know he's not big. We used to talk it all the time with Ben Roethlisberger, where he was just like trying to tackle like a defensive lineman. Like you just couldn't do it. Bryce Young just is slippery. You know what I mean? So Mississippi State, whatever.
Yeah.
So Kansas State, number 17, Kansas State heading to number 8, TCU. Casey's TCU Horned Frogs. TCU wins again, Case.
They're legit.
They went 38-28.
They are legit. I mean, Max Duggan didn't have the greatest game. I mean, there was at one point,
but he battled, his helmet on the ground. He battled, though. He did. I saw that. I mean, he was so frustrated after that series. I saw that.
But I mean, he battled. They ended up winning by 10. Overhit early or late in the third quarter or something like that. But it was a really good game. Really, really good game.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see a lot of fight out of Kansas State in this one. TCU, man, complete football team. You know what I mean? Like, it brings you back to when they played Kansas. They never looked panicked, even when they were losing. They just like, we got this. Like no worry in the world. They've got some studs on the offensive side of the ball. That one wide receiver they have, I don't want to mispronounce his name or botch it. I can't remember. Stud, future NFL star, in my opinion. He just stud. And they're finally, I know that prior to this game, and one of the preview articles I read, they were like, he's finally starting to get more and more involved in the offense. Good game. I mean, nothing else to say. We were blessed with back-to-back weeks of good college football, and this was a good one, man. TCU has a chance to run the gauntlet in the Big 12 and be in the mix for the college football playoff.
No, I agree. If they're undefeated and they win the Big 12, I think they should be possibly one of the teams.
It'll just depend. This is the year of chaos, right? Bama's down. Who knows what is going to happen in the SEC to finish with Tennessee and Georgia coming up? Who knows? But this does feel like a year where like a Big 12 team could win it all.
Well, I'm not saying win it all, but like,
or sorry, not win it all. Get into the mix is what I'm trying to say. Like, so.
No, I agree.
You want to break down the top 10?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give the top 10, and we're gonna give our thoughts. So it's 1 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Tennessee, 4 Michigan, 5 Clemson, 6 Bama, 7 TCU, 8 Oregon, 9 Oklahoma State, and then 10 there's a tie with USC and Wake Forest. I think that's kind of bullshit. You can't say one team's better than the other. How the hell do you have a tie?
Tie is as bullshit as it gets. I would say that I think USC deserves to be 10 over Wake Forest.
No, I would go Wake Forest 10, USC 11.
That's fair. That's fine. I hate Georgia at 1.
I think it should be Ohio State or Tennessee.
I think Ohio State or Tennessee should be 1. I couldn't agree more. I would put Tennessee 1 just because all the SEC bias people want to give towards Bama and Georgia especially. Tennessee's had one of the tougher schedules in the country. I mean,
especially beating Bama.
Right.
I would say Tennessee 1.
And Ohio State just hasn't
Ohio
played
State
enough people.
2.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Georgia 3, Michigan 4.
I'd put Michigan 3, Georgia 4.
No. Who the fuck has Michigan played?
They beat the shit out of Penn State. That shouldn't matter. That should matter a lot.
Okay.
Georgia almost lost to Kent State.
Okay. Michigan almost lost to Indiana.
Michigan didn't almost lose to Indiana.
Okay, they put up... Dude, you're totally right. They put up 49 on Oregon. 49.
First game
they won
of the
by
year,
46.
Though.
Okay. They won by 46 against Oregon.
Yeah, no.
So what's your point? What's your point on Penn State?
I think they won 49-0, didn't they?
49-3.
Oh, was it? Oregon got 3 points.
Yeah.
Georgia's got to prove it a little bit more to me this year. They might just be bored. I mean, there's a possibility that Georgia's just bored. Other than that, I don't mind Bama at 6. TCU should be 5, in my opinion, because Clemson barely beat Syracuse. They've had some close ones.
But Syracuse is the number 14 team, though. Or was.
What? Oh, I see what you mean. So you're saying it's a convincing win for Clemson?
Yeah, yeah.
See, I disagree with that.
I get they looked like shit, but they beat them. How?
Because the line was at 13.5. They only won by 6.
Okay, but you played the number 14 team in the country. Okay. You want to get into that? Michigan was 50-point favorites against Hawaii, and they only won by 49. And they're the number 3 team in the country? You want to bring up fucking spreads? A win's a fucking win. They kick the shit out of them still.
I guess we talked about this a little bit earlier with coming away from that Clemson-Syracuse game. I don't know if I was more impressed with Syracuse or more let down by Clemson. You know what I mean?
I think Syracuse showed how to beat Clemson.
Yeah, and Syracuse does have a good defense. The fact that they made DJ Ukulele get benched when he was the top recruit in his class, I'm pretty sure. That's nuts. Other than that, I think Oak State staying at 9's a little weak. If anything, put Wake Forest at 9 and USC at 10. But
Oklahoma State's beat teams. Texas was ranked. I think, who else did they play a couple weeks ago that was ranked? Oklahoma State is playing good teams.
I guess, yeah. Nothing's been super convincing, I guess. But
okay, neither has any of those other teams up there. Neither is USC. Who the fuck is USC played?
Yeah,
Oak State's only loss is at TCU in double OT. And Oak State has been a top 10 team since at the beginning of the year. They beat Baylor in Baylor 36-25. I get they struggled against Central, but okay, first, since you want to bring up first game of the year, first game of the year.
Yeah, and I guess, to be fair, I totally forgot Oak State, even though we just talked about beat Texas this week, so it makes sense. That was just an oversight on my part. My apologies.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our top 10 feelings. Casey's Michigan bias as always. NFL.
I'm not Michigan. How am I Michigan biased there? How am I Michigan biased? Because I think Georgia, Ohio State, and Tennessee are all better in Michigan. If I'm Michigan biased, I would say, I would put Bama over Michigan because I do think Bama is better than Michigan. I would put
Michigan's
Clemson
the best
over
team in
Michigan.
the country, and you'll see it at the end of the year.
TCU over Michigan. I would say all this shit. I would say Michigan's not
when
even
Michigan
a top 10
beats
team.
Ohio State this year, we'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah, we will. Because obviously it's a game to talk about.
NFL Week 7. I'm probably going to fly through this section. I didn't watch a single NFL game this weekend. I didn't even know the Lions lost until 8 or 9 p.m. yesterday because I was busy with that golf tournament. So, first game, New Orleans Saints heading to Arizona, playing the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals win 42-34. Felt like a must-win for the Cardinals. They had so much optimism, so much hope. They gave Kyler this big contract, and they've been relatively just disappointing this year. And I think the Saints have been really disappointing too. The Cardinals pull it out. High scoring game, overhit. I think we when we did our preview, even if it didn't get posted, I think we both felt like the over was a good play in this one.
Well, we didn't talk about this because it was Thursday, so.
I know. I said I know it didn't get posted, but I said I think when we recorded,
we don't talk about Thursday games. We would have never talked about
because it was the Thursday
game.
night game. Sorry. Yep. No reason to be a dick.
Wasn't being a dick. I'm just saying it wasn't on the show sheet. And you weren't listening, so then I said it again.
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, first game back. He looked good. 10 receptions, 103 yards. I think Arizona's Cardinals offense is going to get a lot better now that they have D-Hop back.
He's a guy, right? Like, he's one of the premier wide receivers in the league. You can't imagine a team's going to get worse when he's there. He seemed to be a leader, too. Did you see that clip when Kyler was freaking out on Cliff Kingsbury and D-Hop stepped in and was like, yo, relax, kind of got in the middle of the two. It was like, we're good. You two. It was funny. The Pat McAfee talked about it, and he was like, D-Hop probably got back and was like, what the hell happened in the 6 weeks that I was gone? How the hell do our coach and our quarterback that we just paid a shit ton of money to hate each other all of a sudden? He seemed to get in the middle there. And there was a clip you could see that D-Hop was kind of smiling like, Kyler, I love how competitive you're being right now. I love how fired up you are. Yelling at the coach is not the solution. So I do think that I agree with you that him being back seems to elevate them, not just on the field, but probably off the field a little bit too. Where like D-Hop's got a lot of respect in this league, and if he tells Kyler or Cliff to shut the fuck up, they're probably both going to be like, okay, yeah, probably need to calm down a bit.
Right.
So. No,
I agree. Other than that, I mean, I have nothing much to say about that.
No, good for D-Hop. Happy to be back. Please don't use steroids anymore, man. Football's better when he's on the field.
Right. Next game, Atlanta Falcons had the Cincinnati and play the Bengals. Bengals win convincingly, 35-17. Falcons just never had a chance in this one. Bengals were just always, I mean, from the get-go, just up and just running with it. Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase both had good games, both over 100 yards, both with a touchdown. Jamar Chase had 2. Joe Burrow had a phenomenal game. I mean, other than that, yeah.
It's a good game for the Bengals. We kind of talked about them having a little bit of Super Bowl hang. I know they didn't win it, but they far surpassed expectations last season, making it all the way to the Super Bowl. So you felt like to start the year, they felt like they had a little bit of a hangover, a little bit. Like, they get it done. Falcons finally don't cover the spread, so they no longer undefeated against the spread this year. Bengals just looked good, man. Like, I looked at the stat line before the show. Unbelievable. Finally,
they looked good. They looked good. You didn't watch a game though, so how do you know they looked good?
I saw the highlights. I didn't get to watch the game, but I got to see the highlights. The highlights look good. I'll put it that way. Maybe I need to be a little bit more specific. But the highlights look good. I watch Sports Center at least, man. Fuck, cut me a break. Jamar Chase had a good game, like you said. The offense finally humming. They scored 35. You know, I nothing else to say other than, like, I think this is the type of season the Bengals thought they were going to have, is beating teams like the Falcons 35-17. So, and I know we both love Joey Burr, so like to see him finally getting it done, and hopefully the Bengals can make another run.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Next game, our Detroit Lions head down to Dallas and play the Cowboys. Lions lose 20-6. Offense just wasn't there at all. First half, the defense played really good. They were holding Dallas to pretty much just getting field goals. Dallas got 1 field goal. Lions went into half up 6-3. And then from there, Dallas just kept on scoring. They scored, 3 touchdowns in the second half, and the Lions didn't score a single thing. So, yeah, I mean,
fire everyone, sell the team. I mean, what do you want me to say? 24-6. Jared Goff stinks. I don't care what anyone thought starting the fucking year. Stinks. Careless with the fucking football. Our linebacker core might as well be Lincoln High School's linebacking core. Stinks. Another fucking top 7 pick incoming for the Detroit Lions. I wouldn't be surprised if they have the most top 10 picks in the history of the NFL at this point. Unbelievable. Unbelievably bad. What was it, 6.5 wins was what Vegas had him at to start the year? Good luck.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck. Nothing to say. I'm glad I didn't watch that atrocity of a game. I went through, when I found out they lost, looked at the box score. I was like, oh, They were leading at half, right? Isn't that what you said, right? They were leading at half 6-3. Unbelievable. Didn't score a single fucking point in the second half. After everyone's like, oh, all horny on the Lions offense because they're the top scoring offense in the NFL after the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, they look like
maybe
shit.
they just didn't play fucking anybody. Maybe that's why. Go fucking kidding me.
Next game, the Indianapolis Colts head to Tennessee and play the Titans. Titans win 19-10.
Matt Ryan's no longer the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, Sam Ehlinger took over as starting quarterback. The news came out today, so Sam Ehlinger is the Colts starting quarterback from now until the end of the year, most likely.
Yeah. So I read the article. Frank Reich came out, said that, hey, look, utmost respect for Matt Ryan. He's a pro's pro, potential future Hall of Famer. I mean, he's had a great career. They're like, I loved his quotes because it came off as someone that was being very genuine. He goes, Matt Ryan's a pro's pro. We appreciate him. But he was like, what you have to understand is I'm judged on wins and losses, and if I don't make a change, then I might not have a job. And he was like, so love what we're seeing. Something to note, this has been kind of in the mix. Ehlinger jumped Nick Foles as the backup quarterback like 2 weeks ago because he was playing that well in practice. So the coach is like, well, we got to elevate. Like, we got to this is what the job's all about. We know Nick Foles has a Super Bowl, but he's just not playing as well as Sam Ehlinger is. Matt Ryan gets hurt, and Frank Reich comes out and says, hey, he's going to be the quarterback, and we're not going to make a change when Matt Ryan's healthy. So, sucks for the Colts. I thought they were going to be really good this year. Titans, hold on, win another sneaky one. Still not sure how good the Titans are. Just unsure. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So keep an eye on Sam Ehlinger. For those who want to remember a little throwback, when the Texas won the Cotton Bowl, I think it was a couple of years ago, Ehlinger was their quarterback, and he was the famous one. When we're back, but they very much were not back yet. But still, 6th round pick, getting it done. Claps to Sam Ehlinger. Good for you, man. Good for you. Good luck in the NFL. Hopefully you get that Colts team right. Next game, Green Bay Packers at the Washington Commanders. Commanders win 23-21. This is another fucking frustrating thing, Casey. And a year where the Packers stink. The Bears stink. Minnesota Vikings, okay. The Lions find a way to be just impossibly worse than the rest of the division. Like, this is the year where you're like, hey, the Lions win 9 games. They might get into the playoffs because of how bad the North is. The Packers, what is going on?
Yeah, that's, I think, their 3rd straight loss. I think.
Third straight, because they lost the Jets, they lost the Giants, and now they lost to the Commanders.
Yep, 3rd straight
Giants
loss.
in London, Jets at home, I think at home, and then at the Commanders they lost.
Yep.
Unbelievably bad. Aaron Rodgers has to be beyond frustrated, right? Like, this late in his career, can't put a team around him. No fucking wide receivers to throw to speak of.
Shit, they only ran the ball 12 times on Sunday.
Still don't understand that. When you have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, it's like, maybe it's like the looks they're getting in the box, like, hey, this favors the pass, like, let A. Don't get it. Because there's been times this year when they won the game where I'm like, hand the ball off to A.J. Dillon every fucking time. Like, why would you just not do that? They have 2 great running backs. There's something going on with the Packers where it feels like to me that there is a power shift coming, where it's going to be Aaron Rodgers saying, I'm going to retire and or go somewhere else, or you need to get this Matt LaFleur guy out of town. I don't know what's going to ultimately happen with that. It feels like Matt LaFleur's done nothing but not be particularly great, because they drafted Jordan Love in the 1st round a couple years ago. He stinks. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers' replacement. We already know that. And it feels like if you would have utilized some of your draft picks to maybe build around the guy that you already have there, that they'd be, maybe have won a Super Bowl by now. I don't know, man. Something weird's going on in Green Bay. It feels like they should be a lot better than they're playing right now. 11 games left. 11 games left. But dude, come on. We gotta get something figured out here.
Right. Next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers head to Carolina and play the Panthers. Panthers win 21-3.
Who saw that coming?
What? No one. I would say no one.
Bucks favored -11 heading into the game. Bye-bye Brady, man. I said it last show or a couple of shows ago. Something's going on with Brady that whether it's on the football field or off, both things are not working out. Feels bad. Feels like the Bucks were loaded up to at least win 2 with Brady there, and it's just not a good football team. And the Panthers suck. Like let's not get it twisted. The Panthers suck. They're like basically selling their entire team.
Yeah, the game after they sell the trade to Christian McCaffrey, they win.
So, don't really know what to make of the Bucks going forward. Panthers probably want to win less games than more, just to get a quarterback, right? Like they're hoping that they're going to be in the mix for Stroud or Young. Maybe Will Levis. We'll see what happens come the combine. But God, this did not think. Even though I knew the Buccaneers had some issues, I was thoroughly surprised to see that they got their asses whooped. They didn't lose the game. They got their asses whooped. Yep. 3 points. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, they look bad. Moving on, the New York Giants head to Jacksonville and play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Giants win 23-17. This game was a pretty good game. It was on Red Zone a lot.
We were on the right side of this one. I know we didn't have a show that talked about it, but when we did talk about it, we both said Giants are competitive, man. And we both said we thought they were going to go down there and win that game. Fuck, man. Who would have thought the Giants, what, they set 7-1? 6-1?
6-1.
Yeah, I mean, like
6-1.
You could have told me that, and I would have said $1,000.
If you would say, "Hey, your Giants 6-1 or 7-1," I would say they're 1-6 or 6-1. I would say there's.
I would have put money on the 1-6, 100%. Yeah. Like probably not have thought that hard about it.
Right. So I agree.
Giants are rolling. Saquon is back. Daniel Jones again doing just enough not to lose the game. Competitive game. It was. It really was. But fuck, Jacksonville's still a sneaky team where you probably don't want to play late in the year if you're trying to get into the playoffs. Giants are just rolling. They don't know how to lose right now.
Oh,
are you a Giants fan again?
No, Lions fan only.
I appreciate that. of you.
Yep. Moving on, Cleveland. Unless you have anything else to say about that game.
No. I was just gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
Cleveland Browns head to Baltimore and play the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens win 23-20.
Yeah. Ravens are a good team. The Browns are kind of in that weird spot right now where, they traded their entire franchise for Deshaun Watson. He hasn't even played a game yet. Did you see today that they are taking offers on Greedy Williams, their cornerback, and Kareem Hunt? So
nice. Yeah, might as well get rid of whoever you can.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's one of those things you almost feel like if you're the Browns, you're like, hey, we're probably not going to make the postseason, so let's tool up for next year. I don't think they're in full rebuild mode. Obviously, they can't be. They just paid Deshaun like $240 guaranteed. So, but it does feel like, hey, we can get some draft picks to maybe load up on some sides of the ball. Let's at least try to be proactive heading into next year. Ravens are just good. Lamar in a contract year, playing his ass off. I think the Ravens could be a sneaky Super Bowl, maybe not even sneaky, but a Super Bowl contender this year.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think is J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is out for a couple weeks. I think he's out for 4 to 6.
No, but yeah, I no idea.
But
no idea. Moving on, New York Jets head to Denver and play the Broncos. Jets win 16-9. They lose Breece Hall in this one for the rest of the year to a torn ACL. but looks like today they traded for James Robinson from the Jaguars for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, and it could end up being a 5th-round pick. I don't know exactly how that works out, but like if some scenario happens, it could transform to a 5th-round pick. Feels like a weird trade for the Jags. Like, what does getting a 5th-rounder for your backup running back really do? They must have felt like he wasn't, adding enough, obviously, to their offense. This is something rare, right? From a Jets team that's been like the goddamn Jets, pretty abysmal franchise for most of our life. They're competitive right now. They lose their workhorse in Breece Hall and don't even bat an eye and going to get his replacement. That's kind of a sign of a good GM and a good coach saying, hey, let's fill a void. We're good. It's hard to win games in the NFL. We're winning games in the NFL. Let's not just say, hey, because our guy goes down, we're just going to mail it in for the year. That's probably good for the locker room, too, where they're like, hey, they're not giving up on us just because we lost our fucking guy. I love that for them. They win an ugly one. Denver stinks. I know Russ didn't play. Fuck Russell Wilson. Good for the Jets to go out and replace Breece Hall as quickly as they did. I think that's me personally, just as a sports fan, I think that's a sign of a good franchise. Saying, hey, we're not going to give up on the season. I know no Jets fan and no NFL pundits out there, reporters, pundits, whatever you want to call them. No one expected the Jets to be as good as they are this year, and they're proving that, hey, we got enough to get things done. And I love that for that fan base that they just said, fuck it, we'll at least go get it back. So now them and Michael Carter. So
yeah, no, I agree. Next game, Houston Texans head to Las Vegas and play the Raiders. Raiders win 38-20. Devontae Adams, first game back from suspension. He had 8 carries, 95 yards. Josh Jacobs was the story of this one. 20 carries, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had himself a pretty good game there. At the end of the game, I thought it was really funny that Devontae Adams started walking through the tunnel and he stopped 1 second and went like this to tell people to get out of the way, and then he hurried up and ran through.
Some self-awareness on his part.
Yeah, some self-awareness, and he was joking about it. Was more of a joke. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that whole thing with him running to that reporter or cameraman was overblown to begin with. There was that one really, really bad camera angle that made it look like he did it on purpose, and then the second one that came out was like, dude, you walked right in front of him. Yeah, what? The
dude's walking pissed off after a game, and all of a sudden you completely
he's probably seeing red or looking at the ground half the time he's walking like this.
And the next thing you know,
bullshit.
something just pops in front of him, and then it's just shit.
That's your natural reaction, right? And it's like, I'm a professional athlete. You're just average Joe. He could flick that guy, and you might fall over. You know what I mean? So Jacobs went off. Good for him. This is the Raiders offense that I thought we were going to get most of the year. So we'll see. Keep an eye on the Raiders, see if they can have a chance to turn things around. My biggest worry with them is that they put themselves so far behind the 8 ball that they're not going to be able to do it, especially chasing the Chiefs in that division. But we'll see. The only other thing I have to say is I like Derek Carr, man.
I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL.
I know that there's been times this year where he hasn't played great, but he just seems to, when you feel like the team needs a win, this was a must-win game for the Raiders, it felt like, even though it's only week 7. It's like, dude, you can't drop one to the Texans here. If you want to figure out and get in the playoffs, just showed up, man. Just showed up, got it done. Feels like the Raiders, if they can figure things out, they'll have an opportunity with how bad the Broncos and how inconsistent Broncos are and how inconsistent the Chargers have been. They could give themselves a chance to be in the mix at the end of the year if they can keep playing that kind of football.
Yeah, no, I agree. Next game, the Seattle Seahawks head to Los Angeles and play the Chargers. Seahawks win 37-23. This one was a pretty good game. Kenneth Walker was a story of this one. 23 carries, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Seahawks are kind of rolling.
Seahawks are good.
I'm surprised.
Seahawks are good. Geno Smith, we've been saying it for 4 weeks. Geno Smith, comeback player of the year, probably. I don't know if they only give that award to people that were hurt, but he's just very. I mean, they're playing really good. Like I said, I got really frustrated a couple of shows ago about the Lions because it's like they trade Russell Wilson just like the Lions traded Matthew Stafford, right? Like the face of their franchise, and they're better this year. I mean, like they didn't miss a fucking beat, Casey. Chargers, very disappointing year for the Chargers so far. Felt like they were a team that was going to take a step forward, and they don't. That sucks if you're a Chargers fan. It feels like their coach was so rock solid last year. Had some questionable calls, especially like with game management stuff. Seahawks roll again, man. And again, you go from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith, you think your offense is going to take a step back. They're scoring a ton more points this year than they scored last year.
Yeah.
So, Seahawks, really good. Yeah.
Next game, Kansas City Chiefs heads to San Francisco. Nothing.
Okay.
And plays the 49ers. Chiefs win 44-23. Pretty much no shot. This was the 49ers' first game with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And he looked all right, but I mean,
probably going to take him some time to get
Mahomes
that offense figured out. I again love the 49ers having the balls to go and trade for a guy like that, right? Like that's a winning franchise mentality. Like we're all in on this year every year. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they did what the Chiefs do. Mahomes was electric in this one. Chiefs get it done. You know, my Super Bowl hopefuls aren't looking great, pal.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to say there. I mean, Chiefs are the Chiefs. 49ers.
Yeah, they scored a shit ton of points. Juju Smith-Schuster had a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all
I will
around
say
good.
the one thing to keep an eye out is we talked about this personally, like you and I. The Chiefs did that whole thing with the Travis Kelce contract where they cleared like $4.5 million in cap space or $3.5 million cap space. I'd be damn surprised if they don't utilize that to go out and get somebody. Granted, I don't know what side of the ball it's going to be on, but keep an eye out for the Chiefs to make a move at the deadline. There's no reason they would have done that if they weren't eyeing to get somebody.
Right. No, I agree.
So,
last game, Pittsburgh Steelers head to Miami and play the Dolphins. Dolphins win 2016. Tua's first game back, or 16-10. Yeah. Tua's first game back. There was a couple times where Tua was running and then just dropping his head and the defenders lowering his shoulder. I mean,
it's like, fuck concussion protocol, right?
Yeah, don't know if I'm a head coach, if I'm going to want that from my franchise quarterback, especially after coming off of a head injury like that. But it is what it is. After that, at that point, I mean, it was a really boring Sunday night game. Yeah,
it was. It wasn't. Like I said, I didn't get a chance. I got to see some highlight. It was on after the scramble, but I just wasn't watching it very close. But I did see all over Twitter that clip of it was like the second play of the game. Tua tried to put a spin move on someone, just got crushed. It's like, I don't think anyone's questioning your toughness anymore, dude. Like, you should just slide when you have the opportunity or just go down. Very boring game. I'm interested. I've been intrigued by the Dolphins since like the second week of the season when they ended up beating the Ravens. And I'm like, wow, this offense could be electric. Obviously, with the Tua injury and then Teddy getting hurt and them having to play that 7th rounder or whatever it was, they've kind of been not great the last couple weeks, but what can you expect? Be really fun to see down the stretch if they get that offense back on track, see how Miami could impact the AFC playoffs a little bit. Because I do think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are about as two receivers hard, like, it's going to be hard for any team to scheme against those two guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's all I got, man.
Yeah, me too. Well, looks like that's our show, guys. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. I will talk to you Thursday, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. I love you guys. We'll see you Thursday. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be in person Thursday, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how my doctor's appointment goes.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. We love you. We'll see you.
Yep. See you guys.